In today's video, we need to talk about the upcoming preseason game against the Eagles. We're going to be talking about all the players I'm going to be watching, the top 10 players I'm going to be watching for this upcoming preseason game. I'll go more in depth about why I'm going to be watching each of these players in the rest of the video. Anyway, before I get into things, be sure to smash that like button, guys. Completely destroy it and leave a comment down below and subscribe for more Patriots content, as we're just going to be bringing you guys so many videos this upcoming season. Do you guys see how many videos I uploaded this previous week just on the one preseason game? Imagine if it was a game that actually matters. We got a lot of fun stuff in store for you guys the rest of the season and hopefully for seasons to come. So be sure to subscribe to be a part of this channel's future. Now, what we're going to do here is take a look at last week's players to watch. There's some players that definitely weren't on here that should have been, one of which is definitely Cam Newton. It's obviously a little bit of a weird season because this is the first season that we have 3 preseason games instead of 4. So it was kind of hard to predict what would happen in that first preseason game. And in my opinion, I was telling my dad about this actually, I really feel like how it kind of worked is the first preseason game now feels like what the second preseason game used to feel like, which is kind of the starters come in sometimes, most of the times at least, and they come in for a very short period of time, because in the old first preseason games, which would have been the first of 4 beforehand, we wouldn't see the starters at all. So that seems to be like a permanently changed thing in the NFL, where now we're going to see the starters every preseason game, which I actually prefer. I think that's pretty cool. So Cam Newton was not on this list. Should have been if I would have known he was going to play, but we didn't know up until like 30 minutes before the game that he would. And little did I know, for the rest of the preseason, we actually saw most of the starters play that week actually on every single team. So that's pretty cool, interesting change that I didn't expect. As you can see, Mac Jones was number 1. We also had Christian Barmore on there, which I didn't see much of him. Josh Uche was out there creating pressure, and Fernand Jennings was out there. I feel like there wasn't many highlight plays though. N'Keal Harry, man, come on. You need more than one catch if you're going to be there the whole game. I need to see more from you. I already had a good training camp week, though, as well. Ramondre Stevenson obviously had an awesome game. Ronnie Perkins was basically near the quarterback every time he was on the field, creating pressure. I loved what I saw, and I want to see more from him this week, or actually today, better yet. J.J. Taylor obviously had an amazing game. I just uploaded a video of every touch that he had from the last game. Go check it out. Christian Wilkerson had a good game, and Quinn Norton obviously had a good game in his debut. He made every field goal he attempted except for one extra point, which is a little disappointing, but I expect for improvements from him, and I really feel like he's going to be the starting kicker this upcoming season. Let's just talk about this week, though. So that was last week's, obviously, just reviewing what I was calling for last week. Here is week 2, number 10, Christian Barmore. He's moving down the list just because of the fact that I didn't see much from him. I'm going to be watching for him, but I don't know if I'm going to see much of him. That's the question. So I want to see him create more pressure, obviously. I want to see more from Christian Barmore. A little bit disappointing there in the debut. I don't even know if he hardly played at all. I didn't see him once, I don't think. Maybe he didn't play. I don't know. But it was, I want to see more of him, obviously, being our second-round pick. Highly regarded as just a great interior defensive lineman. Josh Uche, number 9, it was a little underwhelming, I think, last week. I want to see more from him, but he's just a player that I'm a little less excited about tonight just because I don't expect to see much. Christian Wilkerson staying around the same spot. He moved up 1 spot here. He was number 9 last week. He's number 8 this week on the players I'm watching the most here. J.J. Taylor also moving up. He was at number 8, now moving up to number 7. So Christian Wilkerson and J.J. Taylor both just respectively moved up 1 spot. Somebody else who moved up 1 spot here is Ronnie Perkins. He was at number 7, moving up to number 6. I want to see if he can create the same amount of pressure he created last week against the Washington football team. Obviously, the Eagles have a much better offensive line, so our defensive line is going to get really tested this week. It's funny because last week we faced one of the best defensive lines, and it was a really good test for our offensive line. This week it's the opposite. We're going to be playing a great offensive line, and it's going to be a really good test for our defensive line. So we're getting some really good tests here in the preseason, and I think that's a very great thing. Let's talk about number 5, though. This is the only one on the entire list that didn't move. N'Keal Harry. I was watching him last week to see how good he would play, and I feel like the reasons have changed a lot because this week I'm going to be watching him to see how bad he does or doesn't play. I'm pretty concerned. I want to see him play much better, and it's going to be interesting to see how he does. The Washington football team, they have a great defense, actually, and I know Years ago, it was not that way, and they are becoming a much more respectable football team. I think the Eagles, their defensive backs are similar, if not quite as good. So maybe Nick Harry will have a different type of game. We're going to be watching closely for that. Number 4, a big mover here, Quinn Nordin, moving way up the list to number 4 here. I want to see if he can repeat what he did last week and just make a lot of field goals. Because if he can consistently make those field goals, we're expecting bad weather as well. By the way, rainy weather down there in Philadelphia for this upcoming game. Another good test for our team. The better the test, the harder the test in the preseason, the better, honestly. Number 3, another big mover here, Ramondre Stevenson. He went from number 6 to number 3. Obviously, he was the player of the game last week, in my opinion. We're going to need to wait and see if he can repeat. Even if he has one touchdown and 50 plus yards, I would say that's a win for him overall for the entire preseason. So we're going to be watching very closely Ramondre Stevenson, obviously. Number 2 here, one that moved down the list here, Mac Jones down to number 2. We saw what we can get with Mac Jones. I think an accurate passer, poised passer, a quick release, all of those things that we pretty much knew Mac Jones could do. Very good game manager. Right now, he is a good game manager. I think the decision making, the accuracy allows for him to be a player that would be able to walk on, even I'm talking in the regular season. I don't think they should do this, but if he was to walk on and be the starter right now, he's going to make more good plays than he does mistakes, and that is the Patriot. That is the Patriot way. They want a quarterback that can make more good plays than he does mistakes, and Mac Jones would provide that. Now, here's the thing. That's his downside. I think that's like bottom tier, like worst case scenario. That's what we're getting out of Mac Jones, but we saw some deep passes that were extremely accurate last week. I don't even think there was a single inaccurate pass. There was, you know what? There was a low pass in the beginning of the game, and then there was maybe another low pass a little bit later to Christian Wilkerson. But outside of those, he wasn't really inaccurate at all. He was extremely accurate, actually, and I don't think he overthrew any passes, which is really good news. When you compare that to how Cam Newton played at times, it's night and day. And even when you compare to how Brian Hoyer played as well, I saw a lot of inaccurate passes because we saw Mac Jones come out with the deep pass for his very last pass there to Gunnar Olszewski, maybe like 1 yard too deep. And people were like, oh, it's so inaccurate. It wasn't an accurate pass. And then you see Brian Hoyer walk on the field and he missed a guy by like 10 yards on a deep pass, one of the very next passes. So I think people are being a little bit too picky, and maybe their expectations are just too high here, but Mac Jones was an extremely accurate passer. I think we know what we're getting with him. I just went on a huge rant about this, and I probably spent way too much time talking about that, but he's moving down to number 2, not because I don't think he's going to perform well, but because I think we know what we're getting, and that's why a lot of veterans aren't on this list either. We know what we're getting with those guys that have been in the league for 5+ years. J.C. Jackson, yeah, I'm not questioning that. I don't need to watch him. I know what we're getting with him. Dante Hightower, been a part of this team forever. I know what we're getting with Dante Hightower. Even Kyle Van Noy, I know what we're getting. They're not making this list. Mac Jones is moving down the list because he's becoming a player where we kind of know what we're getting with him. The people with more question marks are going to move higher up the list. And then number 1, Cam Newton here. Cam Newton, I'm going to be watching him the most because I want to see if he can turn around after last week. I so hope he can. I want to see him play good because I expect him to be the starter for a majority, if not the entire season this upcoming season, regardless of how good Mac Jones is. I feel like I've said this in every single video I've made, but I feel like a rookie just sitting their entire first season is the best thing that can happen for them to start off their career, and I want that to happen for Mac Jones. It's going to take a very bad Cam Newton to make that happen, and I think the pressure's on Cam Newton because if he plays like he did last week consistently through the preseason and the regular season, we're going to see Mac Jones this season. But I want to see if Cam Newton can turn it around. Obviously, again, we played a really good defensive line that actually got to Cam Newton a couple of times. Maybe if there's less pressure on him, he's going to be able to perform better. But I want to see more accuracy from Cam Newton, and I want to see more ball security, obviously, almost fumbling it really quickly. Maybe his first play or first drive. I really want to see more ball security and more accuracy from Cam Newton so that we could feel better about moving into the season with him. Because right now it's not looking too different than it did last season, and if that's the case, that's not a good thing at all. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know if you agree with this list. What do you disagree with? I know a lot of people are going to disagree with a lot of the quarterback things I had to say because, so many people are just either 100% team Cam Newton or 100% Mac Jones, and that is the wrong way to look at this, guys. That is our 2 quarterbacks there. We need to be cheering for Mac Jones and Cam Newton. They're our quarterbacks. This is our team, guys. Imagine having two really good quarterbacks, one for the future and one for now. That is the dream scenario, and I hope Cam Newton can improve to give us that. Mac Jones is obviously looking like a really good key piece for the future of this team. I don't think anybody questions that. I think everybody knows that he's a really good developmental quarterback moving forward. There is just some people that doubt that he's good now, and I think the only reason they do that is because they want Cam Newton to play. But my opinion is that it doesn't matter. We should be cheering for both of them because no matter how good Mac Jones looks, I think Cam Newton needs to start to make Mac Jones even better for the next few seasons moving forward, and give him a lot of confidence to start his career. And I know a lot of people disagree with that because it's a very conservative approach, whereas a lot of more people feel like we should have more of an aggressive approach. But really, really training Mac Jones and giving him time and developing him into a great quarterback in the beginning of his career is the best thing that can happen for this team and for him. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to smash that like button. Leave a comment down below, especially if you agree or not with the list and who you would change. Let me know down below. And subscribe for more Patriots content moving forward, guys. I can't wait to watch this game tonight. I'm sure you guys can't either. I'll probably be posting some on the my community tab or whatever that place is called where I can make posts on my YouTube channel. So be on the lookout for that. I'll be making some polls later on probably. And tomorrow I'll be uploading some highlight videos and you know, probably every Mac Jones pass. Maybe there's some other players that play really good. I'll be making some of those. I am going to be out of town for this weekend starting tomorrow evening all the way to Sunday. So there might not be any uploads throughout the weekend. But, you know, tomorrow after the game is all said and done, I'll make 1 or 2 videos. And then starting Monday, we'll make more. Anyway, thank you for watching the video. Like the video, comment, subscribe. See you guys in the next one.